to actually build an attractive physique, you need to be training with intensity. You need to be training with effort. You can't expect to build the type of physique that's very attractive to women, the type of physique that looks like you're dedicated, that looks like you're disciplined, when you're not putting the effort in the gym. If you're going into the gym all lackadaisical and not actually giving it your all, not actually putting the amount of effort into your sessions that is expected from someone who has the type of physique that's so rare today. A lot of people go to the gym and think that they've trained hard, but realistically, most of these people are leaving a lot of potential on the table. Just because the session has taken 2 hours, just because a person has sweat a little bit, doesn't mean that the session has been maximally effective for building an attractive physique, which is what most people want out of the gym. They want to get healthy and they want to look good. Those are the main two reasons, right? So when you're going to the gym, when you're weightlifting, you need to make sure that your sessions have been maximally effective for getting the type of results that you want. You need to make sure that you're going to the gym and doing the most effective workouts possible in order to build that attractive physique. You should not confuse training volume with training intensity. That's what a lot of people do, and that's why a lot of people get poor results out of the gym. Doing more sets, more reps, more days in the gym doesn't matter if your key factor for driving muscle growth is not sorted out. If your sets are not intense, if you're not going to the gym ready to work hard, ready to give it your all, you're not going to get the results no matter how much you do. You can go into the gym for 2 hours and tire yourself out with mediocre intensity sets, taking it easy, stopping when it gets uncomfortable. And that session, even though it's a lot longer, is going to be way less intense, way less productive than the person who goes into the gym for 30 minutes and takes every set till failure, actually trains hard, lets themselves know that they're not going to get the results that they want unless they actually take it seriously, unless they actually do something that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable in the moment, but it's going to get them the results that they want later to build that attractive physique. Actually training until failure is not comfortable. When that rep speed slows down and you've got to keep going, you've got to push that set until you can't do it any longer, that's going to take some mental discipline. You're going to have to pass some mental barriers to actually get to that point. And most people can't do that. A lot of people are in the gym for 3 to 5 years and they're looking the same. Their reps look the same, the sets look the same. They're doing 12 reps and it's the same weight every time. They're doing 12 reps and it's the same rep speed the whole way through the set because they're 10 reps away from failure. That's not the way to be training if you want to build a good physique in the fastest amount of time possible, and just in general, because you'll never get to that potential that you have with your physique unless you're actually training seriously. It's honestly a non-negotiable. If you actually want to be attractive, you're going to be training in the gym. You're going to be training hard until failure. You're not going to take it easy on some muscle groups either, because it hurts. It doesn't matter. Be a man, get over it. You're going to be training with the actual intensity that's going to build not only your physical body, right? It's not only going to make you more attractive by building the muscle groups that are going to get that nice physique, that V-taper, right? But you're going to build your mental fortitude as well. When you take that set till failure, when you push to the limits that most people are not going to, you're going to start to build that identity that, okay, I can actually do hard things. I can actually do hard things that other people can't do to get myself where I want to go. It's the same thing with your diet. When you're eating the same meals, when you're in a calorie deficit and you get those hunger pains, you need to build the training that you do in the gym is going to help with things like that. You need to build that mental fortitude to think, okay, I've got these hunger pains, but I'm going to get the physique. I'm going to get those six-pack abs. I'm going to get the result that I want. So it doesn't matter. I'm going to do these hard things now so I can get the good result, the result that I want, the attractive physique later, and then it's all going to be worth it. That's the type of mindset that's going to get you that physique. And that's also the type of mindset that's going to make you attractive to women, because no woman wants to be with a guy who's a pussy, realistically, who cries when the sets get a bit difficult, who can't handle their diet, who can't control what they eat, you know what I mean? No woman wants to be with a guy who doesn't have mental discipline, who can't, because that also translates to other things. If he doesn't have mental discipline, maybe he doesn't have sexual discipline either. That's not a good thing either. So you need to build that type of mindset that's going to help you in a lot of different areas. Now, every muscle group has to be trained with that same intensity, but we're going to prioritize certain muscle groups so that we can actually build an attractive physique, a V-taper, that nice shoulder to waist ratio, right? Now, the way we prioritize those muscle groups is not by training them more, not by training them with more intensity, which we can't because we're already doing max intensity on every set, right? But you prioritize those muscles by putting them first in your session, by putting them first near the beginning of your exercise order within a given session, right? The reason we do this is because your body has more mental and physical capacity to perform for that set when you put them first in your session. You can easily test this yourself, right? Whatever exercise that you do first in the session, given that you're training till failure, you're always going to feel better, you're going to feel stronger than the ones that you do last. That's not to say that the ones that you do last, the exercises that you do last, are not gonna have an impact, right? You're still gonna get stronger on them. You're still gonna progressively overload. It's just gonna be a little bit slower than the ones that you do first, which is perfectly fine because we're prioritizing the exercises that are gonna have the most impact in terms of building that attractive physique. Let's say you're doing an upper body session. You take all the muscle groups that you want to train in that upper body session. So for me right now, it would be my side delts, then my lats, then my upper chest, then my upper back, and then my rear delts. And then I would choose one exercise for all of them, just one. That's all you need, believe me. So for me right now, my lats, lat pull down, my side delts, lateral raise, my upper chest, incline Smith, my upper back, T-bar row, my rear delts, face pull. And I'm just doing 2 sets for every single one of those exercises. Every one of those exercises that you just heard, 2 sets only. That's all I'm doing. When you're training with that real intensity, when you're training until failure, you're going into the gym with purpose to give it your all. Every single rep is perfect. Every single set is taken until it cannot be taken anymore, right? You don't need any more than 2 sets. You don't need to do any more volume. You don't need to be in the gym for 2 hours doing, moving lackadaisical like a lot of people. You don't need to be doing all that time for less results. When you're going into the gym with real intensity and training until failure, you don't need to do all of that. You can do 2 sets with all of the exercises that you've chosen, and that's all you need. That's going to give enough muscle growth stimulus until your next session, and you're going to continue to progressively overload. And at the same time, you're going to be spending less time in the gym, and you're going to be building that discipline. You're going to be building that mindset because each one of your sets is actually purposeful. And then you should also be training with heavy weights, somewhere within the 4 to 8 rep range. Once you get to the top of that rep range, you increase the weight, you go back down to 4 or 5 reps, and you keep training until failure again, until you can reach the top of that rep range. When you're actually training until failure, you're going to be able to progressively overload week after week. You're going to take a set till failure 1 week and you get, say, 5 reps, and then the next week or next session even, you get 6 reps, and then 7, and then 8. And then once you hit 8, you increase the weight again and you get progressively stronger over time. You're going to see amazing results training this way. Because you're training with heavy weights, you should be resting a decent amount of time in between your sets. So about 3 minutes is going to do the job. So you can recover in between each of your sets, both mentally and physically, so that your next set can be just as impactful, just as intense. Now bear in mind, even though we're training with intensity, even though we're training with heavy weights, that's not an excuse for your form to go to shit. That's not an excuse for your reps to become sloppy. We've got to be better than everybody else. Everybody else in the gym is either training very light weights with no intensity, with perfect form almost, or they're trying to train heavy, they're trying to train with intensity, but their form is terrible. They're not actually targeting the muscles effectively that they want to because they're moving the weight like a donkey, right? Just 2 days ago or so in the gym, I was doing a set of lat pull downs, 2 sets, finished, and then I went onto the T-bar row machine, and then some guy came up to me, random guy, I don't know him, and he's just like, yo bro, I saw you doing your sets there. I just wanted to say your form was perfect, like the way that you controlled that weight. Like, he was just glazing me basically. But that's the type of reactions that you need to be getting from people. Not actually, right? But you need to have perfect form so that people look at it and think, oh my, I wish that my form was like his. Once you've got the form absolutely perfect, and then you've got the intensity, and then you've got the heavy weights as well, and then obviously all the other things, the diet, the sleep, the prioritizing the muscle groups, all those things put together, your physique is literally going to be 1 in a million. Your physique is going to be insane. Most people are only using good form when they're moving extremely lightweight, so when they're doing their warm-up, right? You need to get your form perfect for every single set, for every single rep, even when you're training till failure, and even when you're training with the heavy weights. For those lat pull downs, for example, I was doing 225 pounds. I weigh 170, by the way. 5 or 6 reps, I think. And form perfect all the way through. The first rep and the last rep, exact same form. The only thing that changes with your first rep and your last rep in a particular set is the rep speed. As you get closer to failure, the rep speed is going to slow down inevitably, and that's good. That's what we want. That's how you know you're training hard. And just the rep speed on the concentric, by the way. So on a lat pull down, the concentric is when you're pulling the weight towards you, right? That's the hard part. That's when you're moving the weight. That's going to slow down. The eccentric, when you're lowering the weight, or on the lat pull down, you're going to be like the weight's rising, right? Then that speed has to stay the same all the way through. For me, I have it takes me about 2 seconds on the eccentric on every exercise. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Between 1 and 3 seconds lowering the weight is perfectly fine, as long as it's consistent between every single exercise, so that you can track it, so you can track your progressive overload consistently, right? Then that's going to be perfectly fine. So the speed, the form, has to be perfect every single time. And that's how you're going to see the best progress. That's how you're going to know that your progressive overload is right. That's how you're going to know that you're actually getting stronger. Once you can keep everything the same, get that form perfect, and then you lift with intensity, and then you lift heavy weights as well, you're gonna be progressively overloaded so fast it's unbelievable. People are gonna be looking at you thinking this guy's form is perfect. Oh shit, he's lifting 125 kilos bench as well. And don't be training your ego instead of your muscles, right? If you're increasing the weight but you can only get 3, 4 even sloppy reps out of it, just lower the weight. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure you master the weight. Make sure you master your form at a particular weight before you increase it. Make sure every single one of your reps is absolutely perfect before you increase that weight. And then once you do get to that heavy weight that you wanted to get before, but this time you're doing it with perfect form, that feels a lot better. That's a lot more impressive than, throwing extra weight on that you can't actually handle. And your progressive overload is going to benefit massively from actually doing the reps properly. Now, even though we're training with more intensity than everyone else, the recovery demand is actually surprisingly going to be less than most people. Most people are doing too much junk volume, too much sets that are not doing anything but adding more fatigue, adding more muscular damage for no reason. We're training just enough to get the amount of muscle growth that's necessary so we can progressively overload over time and then get an attractive physique over time, right? But not too much where it's going to be too much for our body to handle, not too much where you're mentally drained from all your gym sessions. That's going to be a lot better. Not only just physically, you're not going to be as sore as much, which is not necessary to build muscle. Like me personally, I'm never sore. Never, unless I change the exercise in my session, which I don't do often. I'm never sore, but I'm still seeing consistent progressive overload, still getting stronger every week. And then also mentally, most people come back from the gym. If you're doing a 2-hour session, for example, you're drained. You don't want to do anything but just eat and sleep, basically. Once you're just doing enough to stimulate muscle growth, but not too much where you can't do anything else, you're going to see you have better performance, more mental clarity. You're going to have a better mood. You're going to perform better at work, all these things. There's also something to say as for mental preparation whilst you're working out, whilst you're in the gym. Now, you need to be in that frame of mind. You need to have that mindset that you're in the gym for a reason. Specifically, you're going to work intensely. You're going to do what you need to do. You can't be like, I see people in the gym, right? I see people in the gym, they're on their phone during their sets. Forget in between the sets, I'll talk about that, but during the sets, on the phone, scrolling, during the sets. Like, honestly, for me, it's insane. For other people, like, average person, it might be normal, but for me, honestly, if I need to use that machine and I see someone scrolling their phone during the set, I'm gonna start to get angry. Like, I don't pay attention to what other people do. I don't care. I'm doing what I need to do, what's best for myself. I get the results and they don't. That's fine. But during the set is kind of crazy, very crazy. Even between the set, right? In between your sets, you shouldn't be scrolling your phone. You shouldn't be messaging people. You need to be in that frame of mindset. You should have your music at most and you're staring at the wall. You're locked in. You're thinking about your next set. You're gonna lift that weight. You're gonna conquer the weight, right? You shouldn't be taking your mind onto something. You shouldn't be putting your mind on something else whilst you're in the gym for a reason. You're in the gym to work out. You're in the gym to work until failure. That's what your mindset needs to be on, and that's how you're going to get the best results whilst you're lifting weights. It becomes a lot easier to work hard in the gym when you have that focus, when your mind is not on a million different things. Sometimes the mental preparation is just as important as the physical preparation, so you need to be locked into those sessions. When you start training with intensity in the gym, when you start lifting heavy weights, when you start training until failure, until you're gritting your teeth, right? You have that focus, you're locked in, and every set is impactful. You're going to get those results that other people don't get. Your physique is going to get so much better, so much quicker than everybody else. Mentally, you're going to be so much more disciplined. You're going to be so much more confident because you're doing hard things to get results that other people want, but they can't seem to do. Everyone wants things. Everyone wants the sexy physique. Everyone wants the sexy girls, but most people can't seem to do the things that are required to actually get those results. Most people can't lift heavy weights until failure. This is a massive factor for actually improving your body, improving your physique, improving your testosterone, improving your sleep, improving your confidence, improving your efficiency in the gym. Like, I can go on and on and on and on. This is something that you have to do when you want to build an attractive physique. If you're not training hard, you're not training with heavy weights, you're not training until failure, your sessions are not effective or efficient. You need to get that sorted out. Obviously, to build an attractive physique, the nutrition, the sleep, those things are very important. But something that you're going to be doing multiple times a week is going to the gym and training and lifting weights. So once you've got that sorted out, once your sessions are very effective and very impactful, you're going to see how much of a difference that it starts to make to your physique. Once you start to compound these workouts over the months and over the years, your physique is going to look insane. The results are going to be insane. You're going to carry yourself differently. You're going to have so much confidence, not just because of the physique itself. Obviously, that's a massive part. If you have a good physique, you're going to be more confident, simple as that. But because of what it took to get that physique, because of the work that you had to put in, because you had to go into the gym 4 times a week, 5 times a week, every single week, and you did that for years, and you trained hard, you didn't take it easy, you didn't skip sessions. Once you do these things, the results are insane on your mental fortitude, on your mental discipline, on the way that you think of yourself. Your identity has changed. Your identity has become the type of person that does hard things, the type of person that is disciplined, the type of person that is attractive. And that's the type of identity and the type of mindset that you have that is going to get you the results that you want. That's going to get you the physique. That's going to get you the girls. That's going to get you the confidence, going to get you the self-esteem, the self-respect. Once you do those things consistently, you're going to get the results. That's just the way it works. So take into account what I've said in the video, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. If you do want more help from me personally to build that attractive physique, to build the mindset, to build the discipline, to get the nutrition that you need, the sleep that you need, the workouts that I've mentioned in the video, check the top link in the description. That's my community. That's my program where I'm going to help you to build an attractive physique. Personally, you can ask me questions, loads of modules there that are going to give you all the information you need to take your actions into your own hands and build that attractive physique that you want. That's going to get you so many results in life. Can't even name them all. Check the top link in the description if you want my help with that.